welcome back to Crafting a Country Life. I have a really fun tutorial to share with you today. I've been working on these over the past couple of days, and these are boxes or bags that you can create using cardstock, and you can make them pretty much any size that you would like as far as the depth, and you have some control over the height. Here's a finished example. This one I added some cardstock handles on the top and put some ribbon on there with fabric fuse. And then I added a rosette and did some matting on the front and the back. And this particular example is 2 inches deep across the bottom, and it has short flaps here and a little bit of a cutaway here. These are fold and glue. There's no cutting except when you're cutting the sizes of your cardstock to create these. So let's jump right in, and I'm going to show you how to put these together, and then I will give you a sheet with the measurements for some different sizes so you can play around with the sizes that you'd like to make on your own. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start. Well, actually, you know what? Let me show you the sizes that I have here first, and then I'll show you how to get started folding. All right, so this is a chapstick size box. So it has a 1-inch depth across the bottom and the little short flaps that come up the sides here. Now, you can decorate these any way you like. You can pinch them closed and put a clothespin up there. You can punch 2 little holes and run ribbon through and tie bows. You can glue die cuts on the front of these if you like. They're so versatile, and I'm just having such a blast making these. So, all right, so that's the chapstick size. This one is a little bit bigger than chapstick size. This one is 1.5 inches deep across the bottom. And just to give you a comparison, so here's the chapstick size on the left and the slightly larger on the right. And here's what they look like side by side. You can see that the flaps on the red one, on the left one, are slightly higher, just a little bit higher than the flaps on the pink one. And that's because of the measurements that I used to fold this up. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, the next one I have to show you is this one, and this one is 2 inches deep across the bottom. And again, you know, this has the side flaps that come up. And this one is using 8-inch paper, 8-inch square paper. These two are using 6-inch square paper. Okay. And then the next size that I have, this one I just made a box out of. I folded the flaps to the inside and glued them down. And then I think what I'm going to do is run some trim around the top edge of this box. So this is just like an open box. Okay, this one is also using 8-inch cardstock. This one happens to be 3 inches deep across the bottom. Okay, and then last but not least over here, this one has a 2-inch wide depth across the bottom, and it has taller flaps. You can see here. This is using 8.5 by 11-inch cardstock. So when you use a rectangular shape paper versus a square shape paper, you're going to get taller flaps, which you might want. You know, this one could close up like a bag, which is kind of fun. Okay, and then this last one here, there is one more. This one is using 12-inch paper, 12-inch size cardstock, so quite a bit larger. It has a 3-inch depth across the bottom. Okay, and I did some matting on here and added, you know, a little tag and some rickrack at the top. My plan for this larger size one is to fill it with some Christmas cookies, and then I thought I would also tuck the recipe cards in here to make those cookies, so you know my recipient can make the cookies themselves as well. So it comes with a little cute little tag. This is from the Gingerbread Forest collection, by the way, which is a Michael's paper pad from this year's holiday season. Yeah. Okay, so that's the large 12 by 12-inch cardstock. All right, let's move these off the table or off the cutting space and put this one aside. All right, so I'm going to show you this example using, as I said, an 8-inch square, okay? And what you're going to be doing is, for this particular one, we're going to make the 2-inch deep box bottom, like this one. Okay, it's 2 inches deep across the bottom. And so what we're going to do is, once you cut your square, you're going to, for the 8-inch cardstock with a 2-inch deep bottom, you're going to score this at 2 inches and 6 inches. So I'm going to find the 2-inch mark on my scoring plate here and run my score line at 2 inches and 6 inches. This measurement, okay, going in this direction is exactly 2 inches from the center. And when I fold these flaps in, they're going to meet flush in the middle. Okay, this is your first fold. And every piece of paper, regardless of size, that you fold up needs to meet in the center flush like this, not overlapping, okay? So that's the first fold. Then just go ahead and fold them, open them up, and then turn it. And in the other 8-inch direction, okay, these are the measurements that determine the width of your bottom. So ours is going to be 2 inches across the bottom. So I'm going to turn it as I did, and then I'm going to score it at 3 inches and 5 inches. So find my 3-inch mark and my 5-inch mark. Okay. Now I'm going to fold this up along those score lines, like so. All right. All right, I'm going to turn it back the way I had. Just open it up. Here are the folds. My first fold, my first scoring marks are going to fold to the center like this. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring, let me hold this up close so you can see the fold lines. See, the fold lines are one here and one here. Okay. So I am going to pull up this fold, and I'm going to bring this fold line to meet the left edge and glue it down. So let's fold it first so we can get it creased. All right, so this comes up here. I'm going to line this up right even with the edge, and then I'm going to slip my finger inside, hold this flat down on the table, slip my finger inside and just press. Okay, let me hold this up so you can see it. So I just pressed that flap down. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to take this fold line, okay, and I'm going to pop it forward. Just crease it in there with your thumb, your finger and thumb, and line it up with the right-hand side edge. Okay, and then you're going to press that flat against the left or the right-hand edge. Line it up and then press inside with your finger. Give that a little press. Okay, so what have we done so far? Here's our folded original paper. We've creased the top set of folds, brought them up to the left and right edge, like so. That's all we've done, okay? Now I'm going to flip it around, do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to take this fold here, this second fold, and bring it up to the left, lining it up with the left-hand edge. Okay? And then I like to lay it on the table so that I can reach inside there and press that crease. Okay, let me just show you. So there's the third crease. Okay? And then, so here we are so far. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the last crease. I'm going to bring this fold up to the right-hand side and fold it, line it up, and then I'm going to reach inside and just give it a press. Okay. All right. So now all your folds are done, and you have something that looks kind of like this. Let me just flip it. Okay. Looks kind of crazy, but this is what's going to become our box. All right, so now that you have your folds all finished, we're going to glue down the flaps across the top and the bottom. And you can use your favorite glue. I really like the Fast Grab Tacky Glue. It does grab quickly, so you don't have to stand there holding it forever. And it seems to be pretty good as far as not causing a lot of wrinkling, you know, if you use it sparingly. So I'm going to put the glue right across here. Okay, there's the bottom. And I'm going to do the same thing at the top here. I'm going to add my glue right across that middle section. Okay? All right, now I'm just going to fold this up, glue those flaps down. I'm going to put, you don't have to do this. I just find it keeps it in place a little better while I'm flipping this around and doing the other side. I just add a little clothespin on there, or what have you. Okay, so now we're going to do the other end. Just glue that down. All right, let me put a clothespin on there. Or any kind of clip that you have is fine. Okay, so now the next step, while those are kind of drying, I'm going to put glue on the triangles, only on the triangles, and just go right around the edge and squirt a little bit of glue on each triangle, okay? All right, so let's do that. So I've got my box shape here, just run a little glue around the edge of each of the triangles that are folded into your cardstock. Okay, so there are my 4 triangles. All right, now I'm just going to run those up. We'll do one side first. I'm going to take my clothespin clip off of there and just fold that up. Just bend it forward. Put your hands inside there and press. You know, until it sticks. Now, you're certainly welcome to use a bone folder or a popsicle stick if you have one, or just use your fingers. I like to use the bone folder because it gives me a nice flat finish, and I know that that glue is really going to stick. Okay, so the bottom is glued in there. Okay, now I'm going to do the top. All right, so I'm going to take my clip off, and again, just bend it up, and then put your fingers in there to press the glue onto the flap. So I'm going to press that bone folder in there and just give it a little press. Okay. Now, of course, when you're doing this, you know, I'm on camera here. I have this isn't lining up exactly, you know, but you want to, you know, take care that you're doing a little bit more careful work when you're gluing it together. Okay, so the box is now glued together. I like to let these dry a little bit. You know, put my clip in there to hold it, because you can see here it's kind of peeling away a little bit. So just put the clip in there while it's drying. You can do all 4 corners and just let it kind of set up. Okay, once that's done, your box is together. So as I said, this is the 2-inch deep using an 8-inch square of paper. Now, if you like, as I said, you can fold the edges to the inside if you don't want a flap on there, you know, or you can go ahead and pinch it together and add your bow. You can put handles on it and make a bag out of it this way. Any number of different treatments. You can also add any trims and matting on these that you might like to put on there. Okay, this actually might look pretty with a handle on each end. I might add a handle on this. I'll have to see. Think about that. Okay. So this is the 8-inch, using an 8-inch square, and it's 2 inches deep on the bottom. I'm going to hold up you can take a screenshot of this. Just hopefully that's legible. Put it on pause and take a screenshot. These are all the measurements for the different sizes that I experimented with. And you know, you can adjust them one way or the other. Your second turn is the one that determines the size of your box bottom, the depth of your box bottom. Your first set of measurements. All right, so for example, on the 6x6 cardstock size, 6x6 inch size, your first score marks determine that center fold. So you want to make sure that if you deviate, you want to make sure that when you're measuring, that you make sure that those edges meet in the center flush, they don't overlap. Then when you turn your square to do the other folds, that set of folds is what determines the depth of your box, okay? Hopefully this makes sense. But I think that, you know, as it was for me, when I first sat down to figure out the sizes that I wanted, I played around with it a little bit, and then this is what I came up with. So hopefully you can try these out. 6x6 inch cardstock, the chapstick size, makes a 1 inch deep box or bag. So you're going to score at 1.5 and 4.5, and then turn your square and score at 2.5 and 3.5. Okay, and then you go ahead and do your gluing up and everything. For the 6 inch by 6 inch cardstock square, that's a little bit larger than the chapstick size. So that would be this pink one here. This is a little bit deeper, okay? You're going to score, same thing, that first score mark is going to be the same as the first one, 1.5 and 4.5. Then you turn your square, and for this one, you're going to score it at 2.25 and 3 3/4. Okay, so it's a little bit wider on the bottom when you get done folding. The next one is your 8 inch by 8 inch cardstock. This will give you a 2 inch deep box or bag. You're going to score the 8 inch square at 2 inches and 6 inches, turn it, and then score at 3 inches and 5 inches. Okay, your 8 inch by 8 inch cardstock with a 3 inch deep box or bag. Again, you're scoring it at the same as the previous one. Score it at 2 inches and 6 inches, and then you're going to turn your square and score it at 2.5 and 5.5 inches. Okay, so that's going to give you a little deeper bag size with these two measurements here versus the 3 inch and 5 inch on the previous one. Okay, the 12 inch cardstock size gives you a 3 inch deep box or bag. Score it at 3 inches and 9 inches. Turn your square and then score it at 4.5 and 7.5. Okay, that'll give you a 3 inch box depth. For the bag with the taller flaps, this one here, this is going to be using a rectangular shape of cardstock. This one that I used is 8.5 by 11 inches, and it will allow for taller flaps, as I said. You're going to score along the 8.5 inch edge, okay, at 2 1/8 and 6 3/8. Then you turn your rectangle of paper and score it at the 4.5 inch measurement and the 6.5 inch measurement. And that is along the 11 inch edge. Okay, so then that will give you a 2 inch deep box or bag with taller flaps. Okay, I hope this is clear. If it's not, please leave me a comment and I can clarify that way. As I said, the measurements are all here. You can try some of these, and then once you make a few, you know, try some different sizes. You'll be able to figure out for yourself what depths you can make your scores at to give you some different sizes if you need to get more specific sizes than what I've presented here. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that you have good luck trying some of these out. I'm just so excited about these because I know I can make lots of different applications with this in some of my paper crafting and gift giving. Thanks for joining me. I hope you're still with me. Leave me a comment if anything, as I say, isn't clear, or you have any other further information you want to share with me. I would love to hear that. Take care. Bye for now.